To take our opportunities, our chances, and today we did that, and we were a little bit more disciplined in defense.
Before they scored, we had 4 chances, 4 clear chances.
That's a fantastic cross-field ball. Wow, for Monto! Chance for Santi! Goal! Again, it's not covered! It's 4! Oh! Oh!
And it's again!
We give good games. That's what we do. We give good spectacle.
Well, one of the teams trying to ensure that they stay as ready as possible is Baroka Football Club. We've got the coach now joining us, Coach Dylan Kerr. Hi, Coach. Welcome to Sport on Lockdown.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be on your show. As always, you're looking fantastic, and as I think you are as well as I am. We're missing sport, we're missing football, so it's good to be on your show.
Are. Yeah, I'm coming to you from my kitchen, but where are you?
I'm coming from the complex that I stay on, and rather than sitting in the house, I try and get as much fresh air as ever. And I thought, well, it's a nice, beautiful day. Better outside than indoors. So, but
you're in the confines, or your house is very nearby, right? Show us your background.
My house.
I want to make sure that you are complying with the lockdown.
My background is the building site here, and there's my house.
Ah, there we go.
So
perfect.
I'm on the bricks. I've got my iPad all set up, and I thought I'd rather better outdoors than indoors.
Excellent stuff. So you've been keeping fit and making sure that you're staying healthy during lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, I've not done any serious training, running, exercises probably, for 4 or 5 years. And this lockdown, for me personally, has been, it's for a mental thing as well. I've got a nice little complex here where, we've got it's kind of a 400-meter track. Because they're still developing and building houses here. So the road's built, and it's like it's actually a 500-meter running track. I think I do 6 laps a day, which is 3 kilometers. And then I do all my exercises from the program that I'm setting my players at the football club. And also I've told them to watch out, when I get back to my match fitness, I'm going to register and I'm going to start playing again.
Tell us a little bit about that program, because I mean, it really must be so tough to ensure that the players as well are staying fit and that they're adhering to the program. How are you managing that?
Well, we managed it. We gave them a kind of a mini fitness test before they left. We took the weights of the players. We gave them a program for a 21-day program. Remember, because it was only a 21-day lockdown.
That's right.
But in every day I'm doing lots of, I'm asking lots of research into coaches in Europe, what they're doing, what their ideologies of training are to keep players motivated. I see in the Premier League in the UK, they're all on Zoom, but all the Premier League players, they've got fantastic gym, they've got all the equipment that they need, and as well as I do, our players in Africa, don't have that luxury of having the top equipment. So we have to give them a program that can suit everybody's individual needs, but also keep them at a level where the fitness is on par for when they left, for when they return, because our stats show that, game for game, our fitness levels were very, very high. And one of the most important things is when you do have a wee little break, even on an international break, you want to keep that fitness rate at the right level. Because if you drop, it just happens to catch up can be a lot longer. So if you keep your fitness levels at a certain height, at a certain stage, then you come back feeling like you've never been away. But the problem is, until yesterday, people were confined to their houses. They weren't allowed to go jog in the streets, go run within a 5 kilometre radius. As of yesterday, this morning we sent them another program so they can go and challenge themselves by getting outside and opening their legs, really, and opening their lungs.
Yeah. You've got connections as well all over Europe. So are you just heightening those, making sure that you're keeping up with what they are doing out in Europe and trying to utilize some of what they're doing and utilize them in the team at Baroka?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm lucky that through the League Managers Association in England, which I'm a member of, and also the PFA, which is the Professional Football Association, and also working in 4 continents. There's a lot of people that you meet in football that they're either good or they're okay, and you keep in touch with everybody because everybody's got a different opinion, a different agenda to their team, to their players. And for instance, yesterday, I'm always in touch with Jose Mourinho. I've got a good relationship with him, via messages on WhatsApp or on email, which is my better contact with him because I can ask him questions. And if I send him an email, within an hour there's a reply. And I just wanted to find out how, for instance, if we did return, and as Tottenham Hotspur have returned, as a few clubs have returned in England and Europe, how is he managing it, and what programs and individual training sessions have they got? And I think they've got 12 football fields at their training complex. I think it's 12. So he's told me that they're splitting into 4 groups, so they've got 4 players on each field, so split it into 4 quarters, and they're doing individual football technical training. Plus they're doing the running, plus obviously they're doing the cardio work as well. But majority of it is with the football, which is in line of what our program is going to be when we come back to training. I trust my players. I believe my players have got an agenda to stay in the PSL, to get to the Nedbank Cup final. So their focus and their priority is to remain at the highest level of fitness that they can. And I think without a football, they do that anyway. South African players do that anyway daily. They're doing the body circuit. They're doing the cardio workouts in the training session and probably at home. But when they've not got a football, that's different, and that's what we need to get them back into. Getting the football with them, getting them in groups where they're training on their own with a football, and maybe introducing 2 players, obviously with the social distancing, and getting that atmosphere back of playing football. And until we get the directive from the government, we can't do anything like that yet.
Yeah, we're living in very uncertain times during this time, Dylan. And of course, when this started, when the lockdown initially started, and it was just a worldwide pandemic, as you can see, and how it's affected different countries, different leagues differently. How important was the making sure that mentally as well, that your players were okay in terms of dealing with the uncertainty? Is that aspect just as important as the physical aspect?
I think it's the main aspect, the mental ability of players. Yeah. Players have got different reactions to being either on their own, being with family. So certain players live with each other, and being in that environment 24/7, where you can't escape. Now, as of yesterday, they can actually go for a walk. They can go and get some exercise. So that makes it a lot easier for them. They can do a different training session, from being in close proximity to somebody in their house. People have got families. They're having this time to spend with their families, which is fantastic. But on a mental side, I just sent a message this morning to the players. Reach out to me. I'm your coach. I can help. As a former player, as a player that's played in Europe and in Africa, I understand how African mentality is. I understand, what football means to you, you know, because I'm one of you. So, but I've got the experience to maybe help them, because the situation in football at the moment is, it's not the biggest and be all of life. You know, life's life. You've got one life on this planet, and you want to make it as long as you can. You know, I'm 53 years old. I want to live until I'm 103 years old. So I've got 50 years of planning now, you know, to make sure that I keep my fitness. And like I say, I'm blessed that, you know, these past 6 weeks have given me the opportunity that I don't really have time to, because of the work that I do for my football club and for me and for my players. I don't really have that time to spend an hour or an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, which I do now, doing exercise, doing, you know, keeping my health going. And like I said, that's the most important thing in this planet, on this planet. It's living, and it's breathing. And I've seen friends in the UK that have been in hospital and have been on the ventilator, and luckily they've recovered. You know, but they've said to me it's the scariest time they've ever experienced, not being able to breathe. And my mum, she actually passed away because her lungs were packing in, and I actually, you know, didn't understand how bad she felt. But now, you know, with this virus, I can understand the shortness of breath, the lack of, you know, being able to breathe in deep and breathe out deep. You know, it's important. So, you know, I just want my players to reach out to me as a coach, you know, and let's work through this together, because everybody's anxious. The question is, when are we returning? When can we go back to training? You know, when's the season going to start? The PSL, SAFA, they're the ones who are going to have to make these decisions. That's why they're employed in these top positions, and they've got to give us directive to say, the government have issued this statement to say it's safe to return to training, and it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks to get back to that level of fitness of football, you know, to then say we can start behind closed doors, you know, in one stadium, in selected stadia. We're just guesswork at the moment. Nobody can guess when football's going to return, but it's got to return, to make sure every player, every cameraman, every security, the referees, the officials, and fans who are going to be watching it in people's houses. Maybe some will come to the grounds. Maybe people will travel to try and get into the games. We've got to make sure it's 150% safe that we can do that. And until that happens, we've just got to, you know, keep ourselves mentally and physically challenged to do the right things in life.
Yeah. And we're seeing different scenarios all over the world, aren't we, Dylan? Where, for example, in the Dutch league, in the Eredivisie, you know, it's been declared null and void. No champions being declared. No relegations of any teams in the top tier. In France, where the champions were declared, the season has ended. PSG champions. They've spoken about the teams that have been relegated. Germany, the Bundesliga, we spoke earlier on to a representative there, and they've been training now for 3 weeks already, and they're looking at going back and resuming the league very soon in May. So there's just all these different scenarios, and I'm sure you're hearing them as well, as you say, keeping updated and keeping tabs with all these different coaches all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, this morning, checking my emails, I got one from the LMA today as well. And, you know, Germany have put this date that they want to return. But then yesterday, you know, the 3 FC Cologne players have been diagnosed with having the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So, you know, ideally, you know, the casualty rate and the death rate in Germany is a lot less than, say, Italy, France, and the UK. And they've decided that and I think Denmark want to start as well in the next couple of weeks. But nobody knows who's got this. No matter how many tests you get, you come from training, you go to the store, you go shopping, you go back home, you might have picked it up from somebody. And these Cologne players, they've been tested for it, and they've been found that they've got the virus again. So, you know, how the German league's going to react on that again. They'll have to go back and discuss it with the medical team you know, with the club and with the association. So hopefully it's not a setback for them. But nobody can, like I said, we're all guessing. We're all second guessing. One of the interesting things I watch on SuperSport, and apart from all the old football matches, which, Carol, believe me, is fantastic to see games, you know, from the bygone era when I was a kid, to relive that again, to see all the talent and brilliant players back in the day. It's been fantastic. But SuperSport have been keeping me updated, you know, with the progress of football all over the world. And, you know, we're just trying to get knowledge. We're just trying to find out as much as we can, you know, for me as a coach, and for me as an employee of Baroka Football Club with my chairman. So we don't know, Carol. That's the thing. We don't know.
I mean, how stringent are the rules and the safety measures being put in place? I mean, you talked about Spurs players and your updates as well with Jose Mourinho. I mean, how stringent are those safety regulations that have been put in place during training?
Well, they've got the ones they're all tested. You know, again, they've got the facilities, they've got the doctors, they've got the, you know, they've got the staff to do that. At Baroka Football Club, we've got a head coach, an assistant coach, a goalkeeper coach, one physio, one doctor, one team manager. That's it. You know, and the teams in the English Premier League and all the big leagues in the world, they've got staff in abundance. So they're able to do things a lot better than what we can do. You know, the sanitization of they've got to come to training individually. You know, they're not allowed within 3-4 meters of each other. They can't congregate in the dressing rooms. There's no communal showers. You know, they clean their own kit. They take their own kit home and wash their own kit. They make sure that before training the boots are clean. After training, the boots are washed. You know, and players are doing that themselves. That it's a responsibility. They put the onus back on the players. You know, so that they're going to get the support from the football club, but the players have got to take responsibility for their own health and other players' health when they come to the training ground. You know as well as I do, football's everybody's together. It's a team. Yeah. It's a team thing. It's not golf. It's not tennis. It's a team sport, and the banter and the camaraderie around football is being together, is being, you know, with each other. The laughter, the jokes, the teasing, all that is part and parcel of football. Not just kicking a ball, not just scoring goals. To do that, you need the whole package. And being away, we haven't got that. And we're going to have to, you know, look at other leagues and say, right, well, actually, it is working. You know, I've got a program. Say we've got 24 players, Carol. I've got a program in place ready to start that we do it in 3 groups, 3 small groups. Yeah. You know, so we'll have 8 come in the morning at 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock, and then we'll have 8 coming from 10:30 till 11:30, and then we'll have a team that comes in from 12 o'clock till 1 o'clock. So we're you know, going on notes and experience of what teams are doing in England and what teams are doing in Europe. You know, I've written the plans out, I've written the programs out. Everybody's got the individual technique program, but again, you're going to miss that vital component, which is a 5-a-side, which is a 7v7 game, which is a 9v9, and ultimately 11v11. You miss that, and you know, until the guidelines say that Baroka Football Club can go back to training, can go back to preparation for games, then I've just got to keep my players motivated. Remember 3 things: PSL, Nedbank Cup, Glad Africa Championship. That's your 3 motivational things that I bang onto these players daily. You know, PSL, you want to stay there. Nedbank Cup, can you get to the final? And the ultimate one is Glad Africa. You know, and that's no disrespect to any team in the Glad Africa Championship. You know, you always want to be in the best league. You always want to be in the biggest leagues, because that's where you get seen as a player, you get sold as a player. And even now, you know, just recently, a couple of agencies from the UK have been in touch saying, listen, have you got any players that we could take to Europe? I said, listen, there's an abundance of players here, but, you know, I work alongside Paul Mitchell, Siavuma Sports here in South Africa, and he does a fantastic job promoting and bringing young talent into this professional setup with a focus of making them better players by playing abroad, so they can benefit the Bafana national team.
Coach, thank you so much for that update. Wishing that you remain as motivated, as healthy as well, and continue as well to motivate and keep the Baroka players ready. Should we find out what the outcome is going to be? We're hoping for a positive one, though.
As we all are. I mean, the world is hoping for a positive. Just one thing we've got to remember is, yes, we've stepped down to lockdown 4. Yesterday I went shopping. I go shopping twice a week. Yesterday I went on Wednesday. It was very quiet. No cars, nothing in the car parks at the mall. Yesterday it was jam packed. It was absolutely, they've gone from 5 to 4, and it's like it's just over. It's not. We've got to still take into consideration that this virus is invisible. Nobody knows who's got it. Keep your social distancing. Wear your face masks. Make sure that you live right, you eat right, and you look after yourself mentally. And we can only do this if everybody adheres to the president's guidelines. Let's beat this, but we're going to beat this together. And hopefully it'll be sooner than later. Hopefully, Carol. And please tell everybody at SuperSport, fantastic what you're doing. To say it must be so frustrating there's no live sport, but it's a pleasure to rerun memories from wrestling to cricket to World Cups to UEFA Championships to the ABSA Premier League from, I think it's now 07-08 season. It's brilliant because I know a lot of those players, and to see them again in action, it's fantastic. So credit to everybody at SuperSport, and obviously you guys who present it. I miss you guys. It's always good to see you, Carol, and the rest of the team. So stay well, stay fit, stay healthy, and be happy.
Thank you so much, Coach. Wow, fantastic words there from Baroka Football Club coach Dylan Kerr. We certainly do miss the game, don't we? And we miss seeing all of this. Kasi flavor.
It's good for my Manipiri's games and Babam Teto's games. We loved it, Probably it's going to be the flavor of the moment, classic flavor. We'll see.
And that is quite that route you must go. Must I come or you coming? It's easy for him, you see. One thing which happened. Bo. They come, they can't, they fathom, they can't. Amen. Megas are straight goals of Lemas because he comes straight, he has options. Bo.
The good thing is Fatlu came and you apologized.